There you go. The cat is on the lap. Okay. Ooh. We've got a few people here now. Do you want me to give it 5 more minutes? I'm happy to get started whenever. Okay. So, there's been some updates for South Africa. We now have ECG, I think Comic-Con Cape Town. That's part of the reason why I'm doing this panel here for you today. It's to talk to you about contests in general. It's to talk to you about the specifics of those contests. And it's also to tell you what other contests exist out there, just so you can keep an eye on it. Maybe they'll come to South Africa one day also. Honestly, it's quite likely, especially if you've just got ECG. Who here is looking to enter the qualifier coming up? It would help if I was on the chat and I could read any of this. Bear with me. Wow, I'm useless with technology. I am getting old. Did anybody here say yes, or is everyone just being silent? Okay, there we go. You want to compete one day, yeah. Honestly, ECG is probably my favorite of the performance-based contests. You'll probably get a reason to why when I get into it, but to the same extent as well, is there anybody here who hasn't entered a contest before? Potentially. Type faster. Several people are typing. You haven't entered one? Okay. Done a walk on? Yep. Okay. I want to talk to you about the number of different levels that you'll see. The phraseology behind this will change from location to location, country to country, contest to contest. Let's get into it a little bit, and I'll start talking to you about an overview. If you get questions as we go through, write them down, hold on to them. I'll come to questions at the very end, and I'll try and answer them all at once. Let's get cracking. So, cosplay competitions. Questions on a start asking are, what does a cosplay competition mean? Pretty obvious, I know, but competitive environment and the challenges. What can you gain from competing, and is competitive cosplay for you? That's quite a big question. Right, so a cosplay competition, you may be very surprised to hear, it is a competition about cosplay. The format to it will normally involve you being judged on either your performance that you may do on stage, or being judged for your costume itself. There's a number of different categories that go around it. The competitive environment and the challenges, though, that is quite an interesting one. If you have entered a contest, you know that tensions will normally run quite high on the day. It can be an amazing environment where you make friends for life. You can meet your future best friend in a green room competing against each other. Who knows, it might be the person you marry one day. You can really bond with people in that backstage environment. There's a few lovely photos here from some of my time competing through Crown. Bottom left, that was our first international meetup for Crown Finals back in 2023. The person in the green jacket who has his back to the photo, that is Luke, who was your South African rep that year. You got Gabby there, myself at the back next to my partner Chloe, Lilith from Hungary, Seu from, she represents Latvia, she lives in Scotland though, and Alison from Spain. I stay in touch with pretty much every single one of the people who I was competing with there. Oh, there's Kui hidden in the back corner there with a silver wig on. They're some of the closest people I've made in terms of friends. In the photo next to that, that was the mini golf we did after Crown Finals back in 24, last year even, that's a weird thought. There was a mini golf in Chicago, and that was a great fun experience. A few of us met up. There's a few friends from the UK that also came along with me too. And then we have some photos here from my qualifiers, from me hugging Steph when she handed over the crown to me. And top right is Lilith, who is exhausted from wearing costume all day, lying down on the green room floor with no shame. There's a great photo of her face only of that, where she's just in a 1,000-yard stare. The environment itself can be very challenging. I personally find that when it comes to cosplay, making something, putting all of your time into something, it can be a form of escapism, more so than anything else. Where it becomes a problem is when those emotions that you're trying to escape from, be it problems in your day-to-day life, friends you've lost, loved ones you've lost, health problems you may be suffering, it's just a great way of you just channeling all of your time, focus, and energy into one thing that gets you away from that. But of course, when you're there on the day, when it's actually finals day, all the emotions from that journey start to come up again, and you see it, unfortunately, a few times where it turns people into the worst people possible, where their whole sense of worth is now on this, winning or nothing, and it's a real shame when people do go that way. What I'd say is try and forgive other people who you may be with who aren't too social, don't want to socialize a little bit because they're probably going through a lot within themselves. Some people are great at hiding it too, but it gives you an idea of what to look out for when you are in a green room environment. You can make best friends, or you can see the worst of some people. That's why is competitive cosplay for you is a very good thing to consider. You may be extremely talented, but it may not be for you just because the emotions and anxiety that you have to go through, it's hard to deal with. It's very hard to channel it in a way that's constructive too. But of course, what can you gain from competing? Well, I've said about the friends, of course. There's normally money involved, trophies, prizes, titles, there's all sorts of fabulous things that you can get from it. But I'd say the best thing you can get from it is experiences. More than anything, competing, it can show you things that you didn't know you had in yourself. Knowing that you could endure a challenge, that you could make something so incredible that you never thought was possible, that you had skills that you didn't really know if they would be anything. For example, my leatherwork originally was just something that came to me quite naturally and I started working on. But the more I refined it, the better it got, and it's become something I never imagined it being. I've had some job offers for House of the Dragon, Netflix, all sorts of things, all because I entered a cosplay contest one day and it showed me stuff I didn't realize. The hard bit for a judge is trying to find what the perfect cosplay is, at least when you're faced with so many amazing people. But the perfect costume doesn't need to be one that wins. The perfect costume can be one that helps you to run when you couldn't walk. It could be one that honors your family and friends. Really, success and winning are two very different things. It's very important to remember that. You can win and fail, just the same as you can succeed and not place in the top 3. An example to that to help make the point a little clearer. The first time I went to Crown, I got to finals 2023. I didn't place in the top 3. In fact, I was told I got 4th place, which is actually quite agonizing to get to, because you know that a little bit could have made the difference. Now, naturally, you go through a lot thinking, beating yourself up because you got so close, yet you're so far from actually getting into that top spot. But I channeled it in a way that I could learn from it. I refined my skills. I focused on my strengths. I focused more on my weaknesses too. I learned as much as I could. I was able to succeed because I was prepared to learn. And then I was able to come back again and win the whole thing the next year. Success standard that you need to set for yourself. It doesn't need to be winning, because frankly, statistically, the odds are going to be against you if your only criteria for success is winning. Right, let's talk about competitions in general now. So, there are plenty of different categories when it comes to competitive levels. The 3 that I focus on, trying to break it up a little bit, are beginner, intermediate, and masters. Now, there are middle grounds between these depending from contest to contest. Like there can be an advanced category between intermediate and masters, for example, or there could be an advanced category between beginners and intermediate. We don't really do these categories too much in the UK, but I know you have, is it the 5 levels you have in South Africa? Please correct me if I am wrong in remembering that. I am watching. You guys will know your categories better than I will. You'll also know the sort of thing that you're looking for. Novice, journeyman, intermediate, and masters. Yep, okay. So, to give you an idea, beginners, they're generally most seen in local level contests. So, the terrible example I gave last time was, this is going to be your local town's Comic-Con, and they've thrown together a contest, just for the fun of it. Mandela Bay Comic-Con, for example, if they have such a thing, or Durban Comic-Con, I don't know. Pretty much everywhere in the UK has a Comic-Con for an example to it, like Cardiff Comic-Con. It's not going to be on the same scale as MCM London, for example, but it's a local level thing. They do a small event for it, they do a small contest as well for it as well. Generally, you see smaller prizes. There is a more relaxed rule set when it comes to it as well, and the variety of judges you tend to see are more geared up towards local talent than anything else. So you'll see people coming in who are someone who's big, hot, and famous, or at least relatively well known in the Cardiff area, judging at Cardiff Comic Con. Beginner level is really about dipping your toe into the water. You don't really know where your strong skill sets are. You're still trying to find yourself. That's absolutely fine. Beginner level is exactly as it says. It is where you can begin. Doesn't mean you have to enter at a beginner level when it comes to these contests. Sometimes I find it can help just to throw yourself in to a master's or intermediate rank and see where you fall, to understand yourself better. As people, we tend to underestimate ourselves, I find. We tend to know all the flaws of our work inside and out. I mean, I look at my crown costume and I think about everything I don't like about it. I'll be the first to put my work down. But that doesn't mean the work isn't good. It just means that I'm overly harsh on myself. And it's worth keeping that in mind when you are going through a competitive circuit. Intermediate level, generally from what we get, it's more of a national level. I don't think off the top of my head you have too many in the way of national level contests. I think, is Rage national level, if anybody knows off the top of their head? It's more going to be a case where it's only available to people in, say, the South African area, and the winner of that is known as being, for example, the champion for, to give a bad example, the Rage Cosplay Champion, for example. That'll be the associated title that would potentially come with it. The prizes and trophies, there's actually a huge variety of them, I find. So what you can see is that a national level may have a bigger cash prize than the finals in some circumstances. It's very much dependent from contest to contest, from convention to convention, how much budget they're willing to put into it. I mean, I've seen some of the contests go for like £5,000, 10,000 in some cases too. It very much depends from contest to contest. So try and find out the information as when it comes up to it. But knowing what to expect from an intermediate sort of national level contest, the prizes, trophies, they can be all over the place. Rule sets tend to be a lot stricter at this level too, and you tend to get higher caliber judges. Normally, they'll get a past winner to come and judge it. Then we have the masters levels. So generally, it can go up to international level prizes. Even national levels will be pushing for masters where they can. The prizes are usually larger. Like I said, it's dependent there. It really just depends from contest to contest. The trophy is normally quite fancy and elaborate, and the title is normally internationally recognized, being at that caliber. So, for example, UK Cosplay Champion, just as an example there. World finals are normally something that come with it. You generally compete against some of the best in the world. Stricter rule sets apply, probably the strictest rule sets apply, and you'll normally face very much acclaimed judges. So you may find yourself being judged by, God, who is an acclaimed judge? I'm trying to think off the top of my head now. I am racking my brains and I don't know why I can't think of any. Anyway, you'll find people that have won world champion levels before. You'll find people who have built a whole career and business out of the bedrock of their contest wins. You'll find big names, essentially, or at least people with big titles behind them. That can be intimidating. I would not get in your own head about it. Judges are judges. The art that we do is subjective. Art inherently is subjective. Certain judges are going to appreciate different things fundamentally off the bat. You can overthink this a million ways too. So for example, let's say you have Yaya Han as one of your judges. She is most well known for her textile art, sewing work, embroidery, that kind of thing. She could go into it with the mindset of, oh wow, I've never seen someone do metal work this well before, this is amazing. Or it could also be, okay, that doesn't have any sewing in it, I'm not really that interested. It's art, it's subjective. The rule sets are normally there to try and make sure the judges have some level of consistency, but these things are never guaranteed, and it's worth keeping that in mind. Again, say for example, Crown last year, if I had a different set of judges, I could have had a completely different outcome. I may not have even placed. Your work does not mean it's bad if you don't place. It just means it didn't either resonate, or there's work or things you can do to improve on it. Let's carry on. So this is more specific to the UK, so I'm going to skip this slide. It's just talking about a few of our local national level contests. They become rarer and rarer to find, so I have a whole page on it. And even then, I think Heatacon might be folding, sadly, which would be a shame to see. We used to have a few really good international contests with really good trophies, prizes, all sorts, but as the economic situation of the world is going, and we're seeing the wealth trickle up more and more, sadly, more contests, conventions are folding, especially gaming events too. But that's me having a little sad rant about that. Let's talk about the Masters ranks when it comes to international qualifiers and international events. So, like I said, ECG is coming to Comic-Con Cape Town. Congratulations. I've said before, it's been in the works for a little while happening. It is probably my favorite of the performance-based contests. So, some basic information. Your qualifier, that is going to be at Comic-Con Cape Town. For us, it is cursed. It seems like anywhere that gets ECG folds not long after. It was at Cosexpo for us, then it went to Insomnia after Cosexpo died, then it went to MegaCon after Insomnia died. Now everyone's looking at MegaCon thinking, oh god, when's MegaCon gonna die? Qualifier prizes, it is almost always, in fact it is always, entry to final, transport, accommodation. There are often sponsor prizes depending from contest to contest. Sponsor prizes just get associated and attached to the qualifier prize. Finals prize, this has changed a little bit since I wrote this, and it is hilarious how it changed. If you win all of ECG, you get the equivalent of £1,500, a very fancy trophy, which is in the top right-hand corner there, a giant novelty placard, and you did get beanbag chairs, at least in the year that this was originally written. Katie, Molly, and Lauren. You'll see them bottom three there. They're not the current winners anymore. Those are the prizes they got. Instead of the beanbag chair, the beanbag chair is about standard size. It is a very comfortable beanbag chair, I will promise you though. But the beanbag chair is no longer. Instead, you once again get a trip to Japan. So, for them, they got beanbag chairs. Everyone else has got trips to Japan. I feel so bad for them, but again, beanbag chair is permanent, trip to Japan is temporary. It is a comfortable chair, I will say, but it is quite funny. The finals, of course, are in Paris, France, unfortunately. It's a lovely venue. It's at Japan Expo. It is a huge convention. Their stage is phenomenal. It is absolutely phenomenal. You can watch every season of ECG on YouTube, and you'll see the incredible lighting, pyrotechnics, everything. It's incredible. If you don't watch anything else, watch the ECG performance from Katie, Molly, and Lauren. It was 2023. They won the whole thing. It is one of the best performances I have seen in my whole life. It's spot number 1 or 2. There was a really good one I saw in Florida at the end of last year that blew my mind as well. They're the Cheek-Off entry for this year. But it is a phenomenal performance. You'll love it. I've seen it so many times. Lauren has told me I am more proud of their performance than her own dad. So I'm their biggest cheerleader when it comes to it. But you'll see just how much you can do on stage. Now, this is why I love ECG. You can do pretty much anything. And I say pretty much. The exceptions to that has to be from a recognized source of media, be it video games, comics, manga, etc. You obviously can't do real life people for the fear of copyright infringement and these other problems. But you pretty much have free liberty to take something from a niche TV show if you want to and bring it to the big stage. As with all master level, you want to have an ambitious costume. You want to make sure that you're getting lots of techniques in, and you want to make sure that your performance is interesting. I can't stress that enough. You see a lot of relatively, I don't want to say boring, because that's kind of rude to say it, but I'm in lack of a better word. Performances are huge. They are really what set an amazing impression. And certainly in the case of ECG, it's 50% of your marks too. You can enter in a solo, duo, trio, or even a quartet. if you have 3 other friends that want to enter in with you, you could go all 4. It is the only contest that has that level of flexibility. Some of the media you see coming up to the ECG stage 2 is all over the place. You'll see stuff that you haven't thought about since you were a kid coming up there. Like, it is wild. The only real limitations are you can't do anything dangerous on stage. You can use copyrighted music though. You can do pretty much anything. I can't stress that enough. It's why I love it so much. Heck, the US rep from last year who got 2nd place, they did Phantom of the Opera and they hung a man on stage. I don't know how they did that. I watch it and I'm still in awe. You see him there dangling with the noose around his neck, and to get that through in a stage with a lot of security checks, they must have done some really impressive work to make that happen. It is very cool to watch it happen though. But you see a lot of wild things happening in CG, hence why it is one of my favorites. Having the flexibility, the freedom just to go out there and do something fun. And what I love too now is they've started doing alumni performances. So it goes to show just how much people enjoy competing there if they want to come back and perform on the stage just for the sake of performing on the stage. I know Katie and Molly did a halftime show last year from the Eurovision movie, and it is hilarious. I think Jazzy and Holly are ECG reps from a little while ago now. They might be doing a halftime performance here as well. It goes to show that you go, you have a great time, it's a lot of fun, and your freedom is there. That is why I stressed you should absolutely look to be entering this. If anybody incidentally is looking to enter ECG at your qualifier coming up at Cape Town, I probably will be at Japan Expo, just because there's a few friends who are going there and I want to support them. So please give me a shout if you are going, we'll hang out. Anyway, on to our next one. WCS. WCS is extremely well known. You have had it in South Africa for quite a while now. Your qualifier is also at Comic-Con Cape Town. Now, from what I understand, you enter in both qualifiers when it comes to it, so long as it is applicable for both qualifiers. And they just decide who goes to which one, depending on the rule sets and a number of other criteria. Also, for that point, you have a great line of judges coming up. You have got, it's not Avira, I forget her name, the German 3rd place from WCS last year. Lovely human being. They did Monster Hunter, not that I've got a Monster Hunter bias, but they did a really cute skit as Calicos, and it was beautiful. A lovely human being, they'll be great. You also have, oh god, I always forget her name. She works with NCC. She comes from Sweden, I think, off the top of my head. She's a sweet person too. You'll enjoy working with her, and you also have your own amazing backer, Ansel. Ansel's a wonderful person. She's judged it a number of times. She knows the rodeo, and she does great performances too. So, more reason for you guys to consider entering, or go to Comic-Con Cape Town if nothing else. I am not being paid by Comic-Con Cape Town, I should point out here. Qualifier prize though, again, it is a placard, usually. Entry to finals, transport, and accommodation. Your finals prize is a trophy, a return trip to Japan to do unpaid work as a judge for the following year, but they also provide you flights and accommodation. Of course, it is in Nagoya, Japan. I stress here, it is in Nagoya, Japan in August. Neon, while you're in the chat, how was Nagoya, Japan in August? Yeah, I think a few of you can probably guess where this is going. It's fucking warm, yes. I think it's pretty much 100% humidity out there. It is unbearably hot. I remember Ansel telling me it was hot. And for a South African to tell me it's hot, I know she's not fucking around. It has gotta be hot. Yeah, Hellfire is also a good word for it. Past winners for it, back in 2023, it was Clued and Supo. Wow, I put Taupo. No one can get her name right. When they came back to judge it last year, they called her Soupy. Everyone, even the qualifier event got her name wrong. I feel so bad for both of them. Were lovely, lovely people. Claudia and Lexi are amazing. It is duos only, and it's 50-50 performance and craftsmanship. Now, there's a few things to talk about when it comes to WCS. So you are very restricted in what you can enter for WCS. It wants only Japanese media, but not just only Japanese media, certain Japanese media. They have a whole ban list. Notable example is Howl's Moving Castle. They have banned that because it's based on a Welsh novel. Naruto was also banned until 2023. They've only just allowed it to enter again, and you're seeing a lot of Naruto skits entering again. Yeah, do read the rules, especially for this one. A few things they will not prepare you for when it comes to WCS. The first is it's basically going to be a part-time job when you qualify. That's not to say you're getting paid to do anything. You have a lot of paperwork that you have to fill out, a lot of audio checks, as well as your upgrades. They'll be on you to try and make sure that your costumes are totally done months before the time. So it means that qualifying, you don't have a heck of a lot of time to upgrade, even if you think you have a lot of time to do upgrades. I've known people, I think Clued and Super actually told me, the way they got around that was they took a photo showing only half of their costumes because the other half was still being upgraded, and that's how they're able to get around that limitation. There's a lot of work involved, and everyone tells me it's stressful. Not just it's stressful, you have very tight deadlines. They'll email you probably at like midnight saying, hey, you have 24 hours to resubmit your audio because there are problems with it. Jazzy and Holly, our last reps, were saying how they had to call in sick from work a couple of times just because they needed to get on top of the deadlines for WCS. Make sure you know what you're going in for. As with all of WCS, I'm not as biggest fan, as you're probably gathering from here, but with everything to this, you draw a thick, bold line under it, and you go, but it's in Japan. Because that's what it comes down to. The reason you go isn't to get to the final stage, it's to enjoy the VIP treatment that you get when you are in Japan, the socials with the other teams, the red carpet walks you do, the carpet walk you do the following day after, the parades, meeting the mayor of Nagoya, who is a very funny guy. He always comes up on the live streams. He was doing a Vegeta cosplay on stage and his trousers fell down. He is a hilarious and lovely, charming guy. The staff that work for it are wonderful. I remember I was talking to Fran, who is the Japanese team coordinator at WCS. Honestly, loveliest human being I have ever met in my whole life. You'll meet some great, great people. They even associate someone from the, I think it's like WCS Academy or something like that, as a personal chaperone to help you out, help you with translating issues, to make sure that you're well looked after. The work to get there is tough. Go in with the understanding that the qualifier is going to be the hardest bit to this. After that point, just get your deadlines in and enjoy being out there. That's the best way I can put it. With their marking criteria, the actual costume marking is held in secret. It is held by members of their board. There's quite a lot of judges, from what I understand, too. And the actual scores and everything, the actual discussion, you'll never know anything about. It is all done behind closed doors. They'll tend to have performance judges made out of the previous winners, some alumni, and Japanese celebrities. So I remember, I think it was last year, they had the guy who made Nier Automata, the guy with the big robot head thing. They'll get all kinds of incredible people to come up there. People who've worked on video games, soundtracks, all sorts of different things. As far as I know, you don't actually get to meet them, but it is a cool environment to know that you're basically going to be in the same room with them and they'll be marking your work. So again, you're going for the experience. The way to understand it is WCS Finals, it's more of a TV show. It's going to be broadcast to the world and you're there to have fun. They have some great spot prizes too. If you win something, that's amazing, but you should not be going there to win the whole thing because, again, statistically, it is so very unlikely. And it's very hard to prepare you for anything around that for how subjective it is. The main thing that I do know is they care most of all about accuracy. This can be a problem in some ways. Again, their rules are tricky to work with. They have a weight limit on costumes. If you go over the weight limit, you'll lose points up until it's something like 4 kilograms over, I think. It's either 4 or 14, I don't remember off the top of my head. After that, you're just disqualified flat out. Um, so again, that means doing things like metalwork is pretty much off the table. Leatherwork is much harder too because leather's quite heavy. And again, they're going to want things that are perfectly accurate to the reference. So that may mean you can't do things like weathering, even if it makes it more visually interesting. If you have a better way of making something, cool, you can do that, but you're probably not going to win because of it. A good example for this too is Team Mexico from last year did an amazing Witch Hat Atelier group. Beautiful costumes. They embellished it so well. But it would be a case of where they went off reference to do amazing embellishments because they went on the reference. It likely went against them. So again, you're entering this with that in mind. Let's move on from that note anyway. There's a lot to WCS, as you can gather, a lot more rules to it. You're forced to go down a certain way, but if you go through it, make sure you're going there to have fun in Japan. I'd say the qualifier is going to be harder than the actual end goal, unless your end goal is to win, in which case it's basically going to be impossible because the statistics are not there. I don't want to say that it's luck when it comes down to it, but it's best that you consider it that way, hope for the best, and you take it out of your mind. You focus on just enjoying the experience out there. And our next one, Crown. So Crown, that has been in Comic-Con Africa, over in Joburg for quite a while now. It is a wonderful contest. The qualifier prize, at least in the UK, was a crystal trophy. I can't list all of your qualifier prizes. You have a lot of qualifier prizes. They're mostly sponsor prizes. Entry to finals, transport and accommodation, that is all included along with the placard as well. But I think Nori won like a PlayStation 5 along with a bunch of like gaming equipment and all kinds of other things. It's crazy the qualifier prizes you can get for that one. I wish I got a PlayStation 5 when I qualified for Crown. There's a lot to it. It's sort of going to change from year to year depending on what the sponsors are. You could win a caseload of Axe deodorant, or you could win a PlayStation 5 with subscriptions for the next 1,000,000 years. Who knows? Finals prize, though, I can tell you because this has stayed the same. It is $5,000, the Crown trophy, and an enormous novelty placard. It is held in Chicago in the USA. The previous winner, and still the previous winner, is myself. It is solos only, and it is 100% craftsmanship. I could talk a lot about Crown. I love it, as you can probably guess. When it comes to international level craftsmanship contests, I like Crown for a number of reasons. There are two that are pretty much 100% craftsmanship. I'll be talking about the other one in a moment. I also really like the other, I should point out. But this one looks for the ultimate master of skills. So it wants to see multiple techniques, but all of those techniques must first and foremost be done to a master level. So, and a good example of a trap people fall into with Crown is they try and pack in as many techniques as they possibly can. And what they find themselves doing is showing that they can do a little bit of everything, but they can't master anything. It's a trap I fell into myself the first time. I had all kinds of foam work, metal work, leather work, you name it, I was doing something for it. Even embroidery, sewing. I was trying to tick more bases I possibly could because I thought it would get me more marks, when realistically, it didn't define anything enough to a master level. Great potential in places, but not enough to prove mastery. Your choice of costume is going to be the most important at Crown. You need to pick something that is really ambitious. It even says in the marking criteria, would a layperson be able to look at your outfit and think, yeah, I could do that? Or is it something that they would look at and go, that is impossible. There is no way I could do that. Your sort of standard everyday person, is it something intimidating? A good example to this would be, let's say you do you guys get the TV show Bob the Builder? I use this metaphor all the time. Silly TV show about a guy looking after his building machines. Please someone say yes. Oh, thank God you do. I was going to sound like a madman then. Okay, let's say you cosplay Bob the Builder, all right? You got your dungarees, your overalls, your boots. You could do everything perfectly. You could make it all yourself. You could prove you've mastered the Bob the Builder cosplay. However, there's just not intrinsically enough to the Bob the Builder cosplay for you to show such a high level of mastery. You cannot show something. I'm trying to think. It's not a big enough canvas for you to paint on. It's quite small. It's something you could do really nicely, but it's not showing a wide enough range. That'd be the best way I can put it. That's why I say be ambitious with your builds. It's better to try and be more over-ambitious, because that will help you find focus if you don't place and it's not enough. If you go too small, it's harder to grow from. Again, you could master all of it, you could do everything perfectly and cleanly, but there's just not enough to it to show such a level to it. You've got to do yourself justice and be ambitious. Other things with Crown too. Don't wander into the east side of Chicago. You make that mistake once, you never do it again. I swear to God, I went to a convenience store and everybody was packing there. That was terrifying. Chicago pizza is also amazing. The Crown, they let you keep. I have it sat in front of me at the moment and it's catching leather scraps. It's kind of awkward in its shape to put anywhere. It's just kind of big. And the novelty placard, it's actually pretty cool, I will admit. I'd say it's a wonderful experience for the people that you meet there. It's an amazing convention. It's an amazing time. It is probably one of the best experiences of my whole life. Go in for it because you never know where you might end up. It has opened so many doors for me in my life. But above all else, I've made some amazing friends from going through it. I'm trying to think, is there anything else I should mention for Crown? Be ambitious, prove mastery, and have fun with it as best you can. Chicago is an amazing experience. Let's carry on. Okay, NCC. This is a wonderful performance-based contest. It is held in Sweden. As it stands right now, neither the UK or South Africa, we both don't have qualifiers. I'm hoping that changes one day. And I should point out, now that ECG has opened its doors to you, more countries will be looking. And I know NCC are always open to new conventions joining them from wherever they are. Because it's soloist, it's more likely to happen because all they're paying for is flights and accommodation for one person. Now, the qualifier prize, of course, again, depends from place to place, but entry finals, transport, accommodation. The finals prize is a trip for Japan for two. There is some money involved for people before. Shukupi, who came third for the US, told me it sounds a little bit strange. You essentially get trophies that you redeem for money, something to that extent. I might be saying that wrong. They show it on YouTube every year. It's a really cool event for what you see there. Now it's solos, but you are allowed to have other people on stage with you, and they can also be in costume. So more like a stage ninja plus. Now, you can lose points from having that. The way that it works is they're allowed to be there, but they will cost you marks if they have a more involved role in the performance than you do. I don't overly want to give examples for that because it's kind of rude to say it. Imagine though that you are doing a performance where you are held in captivity and all the interesting stuff is happening to the people who are on stage around you. That in itself is drawing attention away from you and your role in the performance. However, a good example of how it's done really well is second place from last year. I do not know what this anime is. It's some sort of crazy skateboarding anime. It was so much fun to watch though. He had two other people on stage with him and they acted like henchmen, goons or whatever. They were there to be the fall guys to his spectacular show, and it bounced off really well. They were not detracting, they added to the main character itself, and it made what he was doing even more interesting. The past winner though, Luciotic. I'm never going to pronounce that right. Even Skate the Infinity, it could be. I don't watch skateboard animes, I'm so sorry. Watch it on YouTube, it was very fun to watch. Watch this one as well though, they did Critical Role. It was pretty amazing. The stage props were fantastic, their stage presence was great, the performance was interesting. I don't watch Critical Role, but I knew what was happening. They even got an enormous D20 on stage to show how everything goes horribly wrong. It is chaotic fun. Now, like I said, it's solo only. It is split between 10 points for craftsmanship, 10 points for performance, and 5 points for likeness. Likeness meaning how well you embody the character. It's sort of a offset from the performance element itself, but how much you I guess I can only put it away, your stage presence and embodiment of the character itself, how much you have got yourself into that role. Again, I like it just because you see some really interesting things. You're not hard limited as a soloist to only be yourself on stage. I'm sure we've all seen it where soloists struggle quite a lot on stage to do anything interesting because they only have themselves and their stage props to work with. Solo entries for performance are probably one of the hardest things you can do. But this way, you're allowed to have other people with you to support what's happening so long as they don't detract. It makes for some really involved solo performances, and I love seeing what they do. Keep your eyes on that one for the future if it comes up. Next one though, Tournament of Champions. I opted not to take a photo of the previous winner, even though I love the two previous winners. It was Italy last year and Trine before that. I have decided to instead show you their trophy. It is a wrestling belt. And I fucking love it, to be honest. It is the only contest where the prize is a wrestling belt. Of course, you get entry to final, transport, accommodation, and a placard as well for qualifying to get over it. We have only ever had one rep that made it to TOC, then I was at CosExpo, then it died. But I know from that, they are constantly looking to get more countries in. With Tournament of Champions, I would say it's more of a matter of when than if it comes to South Africa. France is further than Austria. Austria, it's pretty affordable to get to as well. It's quite likely you may see this one day. The only way that it wouldn't is because it is 100% craftsmanship based, and I know, what do you call it, Repop, who co-hosts with GES, their craftsmanship is crap. It may come to a different qualifier though, but look out for this one. I like this a lot, this contest. I'll get to it in a second. You get the wrestling belt, you get 2,500 euros and a bunch of sponsor prizes. They also do a lot of spot prizes too, all of which get a share of the cash pool and more sponsor prizes. Soloist only and craftsmanship. So this compares to Crown in the sense that I say they're looking for a master, but they're looking for the ultimate jack of all trades. Their rule set has points from several categories. Needlework, special effects and makeup, I can't think of the name of it, but essentially like foam work and warbler work, that kind of sort of field. Essentially they're wanting a little bit of every technique to the highest level of perfection you possibly can. The more points you can get from any one category, the higher your overall score will be. It's a very unique concept and I like it a lot. You see a great number of people who have to really think about what they are entering into the contest with. It puts them in a position where you're forced to be ambitious rather than choosing to be ambitious. And again, I like that they have lots of spot prizes. It makes the end goal a lot more fun. You may not win, but you may get a qualifier prize, and that's great in itself. And what I also love is at Unicon in Austria, they will do huge, enormous banners. They'll go all to town celebrating all of their international finalists. You'll be plastered everywhere. You'll be hanging 10 foot from the ceiling in a banner. I should not have begun that with you'll be hanging 10 foot, but you'll have enormous photos of yourself everywhere. And it's quite an incredible experience for that reason. The organizers for it are also really easy to work with. They are amazing people. So I do hope that you get that contest one day soon in the future. And the last one I will talk to you about. I can't say whether you're likely to get this one or not because GCOF is hard to find anything about. And it's also tricky to talk to the organizers owing to a certain level of language barrier. Anyway, qualifier prize, again, entry to finals, transport, accommodation, placard. Finals prize, you get 10 million won, which is about £5,000 in UK money. In terms of brand, that is, if anyone can Google this faster than I am, you win. That's a lot of numbers. 117729 Rand. If anyone can say that better than I can, great work. Hold on to your questions. We'll come back to them at the end. Please ask that again though when we get there, okay? It's a lot of money that you could win for it. 5k is a nice prize to get for it. You also get a pretty nice trophy too. It is held in South Korea. Gonna mess up saying this, please forgive me. Yonggi-do? Anyone who can speak Korean better than I, please feel free to pronounce that better than I. The past winners were Tiny Sow and Amelia Cosplay from Denmark. They entered in part of the Nordic, it's not triarchy, what do you call it? All the Nordic countries band together and send one rep. That's how it works. Team Nordic, that's it. It is duos only, very similar to WCS in that sense, but this contest is 80% performance. They're looking for a more spectacular performance than anything else. They want you to make your own costume, but the craftsmanship level behind it isn't as important as to how spectacular your performance is. It makes for some very fun things that you see there. Again, it goes up on YouTube. You see it live streamed as well. It is a good one to see. Outside of that, I can't give a huge amount of information to it because it's hard to get information out about it. Okay, and some online selections. So you may not even know that you have these available to you. The ones that I'll look at are ICL, Art to Play, and Polymanga. ICL is held at Japan Weekend in Madrid, Spain. The prize for winning the duo contest is 2,000. Prize for soloist is 1,000 euros. You can enter online as a duo, or you can enter as a solo. Duos need to do a performance. Solos are only craftsmanship. With duos, it is 60-40 performance and craftsmanship. It has changed over the years. Solos are 100% craftsmanship, though, like I said. If any of you do enter into ECG and you successfully qualify and go to Japan Expo, you will meet the organizer for ICL. It is Gail. He is a wonderful person. I've got a lot of time for Gail. He has an endless sense of patience. He puts together a fantastic show. It is a good time. The convention itself is fascinating too. It's like a giant artist alley in many ways. They really look after you while you're out there as well. They pull you up into a nice hotel, and they also make sure that you go everywhere together with the group. All of the finalists are kept together. You're not really splitting off at any particular points. You will go to meals together, which they pay for. They'll take you around museums in Madrid together. It is a fun experience. Look into that one. When it comes to online selections, they let you know when online selections are available, and they choose from the best online selections. So you may see a couple of random countries pop into it. I don't know off the top of my head if South Africa have ever had a representative for it. That could just be because no one knows to enter it, or that it's available to them. This is me telling you, it's there to look into. The other two are Art to Play and Polymanga. These two are hosted by the same company. They have some of the hardest websites in the world to look at, and it's a nightmare to find information now about it. I've only really been able to find information from the people that I know who have been there previously. Art to Play, it's a good time. It's very similar to Polymanga because, again, same organizers. Solo, it's 50% performance, 50% craftsmanship. First place prize is 1,000 euros, second 500, third is 250. I don't have too much more to say on it than that. Again, you can enter it into it online. Again, it's in France. It seems like an okay enough time. I've heard mixed things about the organization of it, but not too many people talk about it just because not too many people go through the online selection. It's normally the same European countries who enter over and over again. Art to Play is a good example because in the UK, we've only ever had one rep, which is Captain Amelia, who is bottom right on your screen right now. Polymanga, however, I can give you an amazing reason to enter. You see those gorgeous photos at the very bottom corner of the screen there? That is outside of the Polymanga convention site. The huge lake, the beautiful mountains, and they do a photo shoot. If nothing else, enter Polymanga to do the photo shoot. It is beautiful. That is Blink's Cos Cave on the left, by the way, and of course Captain Amelia on the right. Blink comes from Poland, an incredible human being. They won the Gamescom contest, which is also one I could point out. If any of you travel to Gamescom, it is open to anyone to enter. It's hard to really know where to rank that in terms of skill level. Certainly Master's rank, but it's not really a national or international per se. It's sort of a collective free-for-all. Kind of like Vatican City, if Vatican City were to do a cosplay contest, I guess. You see a great mix of people from all over the world for that reason, though. It's done in a day, there's no qualified to it. You enter the contest and either you win or you place, or you get a spot prize or you don't. But it makes more fun going to Gamescom, which is a wonderful, video gaming event as it is. Sidetrack there though. Polymanga prize is 3,000 Swiss francs. It's held in Switzerland, and it is 50-50 performance and craftsmanship, and again, solo. Keep these in mind if you were looking to enter other contests. It'll be great to see more of the South African talent going further around the world. It's why I'm very excited for ECG. It gets you closer to Europe. Crown is also a great way to, and WCS. And it's important to remember, when you're going to these qualifier events, you are a representative to your country, so try and keep that in mind. Don't let that be an additional pressure to you, but try not to get in your own head about this. Try and show the world how good the cosplay community is in South Africa, because you are a wonderful group of people. There's a reason I am happy to do 3 panels for you guys, because I love you guys. You're some of the loveliest people I've met. My advice to pretty much anyone entering Crown is try and make friends with the South African rep, because they'll probably change your life. Don't let me down on that one, guys, okay? And okay, this is primarily talking about my journey for Crown. Where are we in terms of time? It's nearly been an hour. I'm gonna jump over this for the time being. There are some photos here from my journey of how I went there, came back, didn't qualify didn't win the first time, and then went back again, learning from the experiences. There are some lessons I more want to tell you about this. So, the first, like I said at the beginning, you do not have to win to succeed. Success is something you decide for yourself. Winning, I promise you, it is fleeting. The money is great, sure. The title, yeah, it's cool, whatever. And the trophy just gathers dust, okay? The experience is what matters the most, and you do not need to win the whole thing to have a good experience. You do not need to win the whole thing to make lots of friends in the green room or at the convention. Yeah, it'll be sad because you're at different parts of the world, but that is still something more valuable than winning ever will be. Frankly, in many ways, winning can be the best worst thing to happen to you as well. The amount of pressure and everything that comes along with something like that, the stress of thinking, how do I outdo myself now? Or then you're comparing all of your previous or future work to your previous work. It can cause a lot of problems within yourself and your mental state. It's very hard to go through that. So try and live in the moment when you go to any qualifier or any contest or anything at all. Enjoy it, because realistically, I'm sure for most of you, this is a hobby. You do this to have fun. Don't let the fun be taken away. I understand, again, if this is a form of escapism to you, if life is hard, which who can say it's not these days, you go to enjoy. You make this costume because you want to make this. Your costume does not need to win to be the perfect costume. You just need to be happy that you did it and be happy with the experience. Like I said, live in the moment. Now, losing, as much as I hate using that word, is always hard to go through, because again, you put so much time, so much money, so much emotion, so much work, probably literal blood, sweat, and tears into the costume that you made to get to the points that you get to. It is okay to be sad that you didn't achieve a goal that you hoped you might do. That is absolutely okay. Just remember that the only thing worse than being sad is also being alone and being sad. And if you are there to enjoy the experience, you won't be alone. The other people in the green room around you will want to be there with you as well. You're all going to go through that together, and that's how you go forward into the future. The bonds you make, the people you make, they're what will make this an amazing experience. I quote this all the time. If any of you still haven't watched Ted Lasso, I'm very disappointed because I go on about it all the time. Believe. Believing not just in yourself, but believing in others, believing that together you can accomplish incredible things. You're putting yourself in a better state of mind. It isn't just about winning, like I said, but it's believing that you can do these things, believing in yourself that you deserve to be loved and cared about. It is about believing that you matter, regardless of whether you do or don't succeed. You just need to keep that mindset, push through any trials or problems that you face as you're going through it, and find a way to believe that you'll be okay. Because it is hard to go through these things, especially when you're living alone and the only time that you see your friends is when you go to a convention or whatever, that can be really tough. And it can make these scenarios, if you do compete, even harder. But they believe in you. They don't necessarily believe or even care that you win, but they believe that you're going to be okay and that you can do incredible things, even if you don't see it yourself. Belief goes a long way. So do keep that in mind. You are always more than a contest. Like I say below, you matter regardless of what you do or don't achieve. And after all your hard work, you need to go in with zero expectations and just let go. I think that puts a good point to ask questions about. There is a wonderful photo of my cat to enjoy while we go through questions. I know there was a question earlier, but please, if you have questions, fire away at me now. If you want to know anything more about these contests, anything about Crown specifically, anything to expect at ECG, or even my cat's favorite treats, just ask away, okay? Okay, hello cat. Yes. Are 3D printed props allowed into TOC? Yes. With 3D prints, there are a few things to focus on when it comes to 3D prints. The first is when you are 3D printing, if you can show as much of the skill set as you can. So can you 3D model the files yourself? That can go a long way to giving you extra points. That's additional techniques and skills that you can show and be marked on. The finishing of the print itself. Yes, calibrating a 3D printer sucks ass, be it resin or filament. Things can go wrong. Heck, I feel like with both the 3D printers I have, I am fucking fixing them or dealing with problems more times than I'm actually printing. But finishing is far more important. So a filament print, for example, will give you very hard layer lines, making sure it's smooth, making sure it's clean, making sure it's then well finished and perfected. That's going to be where your real points come in for 3D printing as well. So yes, they are allowed. They will fall into one of the categories. I forget which one. I know Trine did have 3D printed elements when she won Tournament of Champions back in, I think it was 2023. So yes, it is allowed. My cat's favorite treats. He likes these weird dried chicken things. Kind of obsessive about it. But more recently, he's been getting into peanut butter. I've been having peanut butter on toast for breakfast, and he will go crazy. He'll sit on my lap staring at my toast until I give him a little bit to lick off my finger. Yeah. What would be a surprising tip for a first-time competitor? I think the thing that will surprise you most if you're a first-time competitor is just how nice the environment can be. And also how good you might actually be at your craft. That can be a very nice surprise. Going in for your first ever time, not knowing what to expect or what to happen, for someone who is a certified international judge or whatever it is, say like you're doing it at Comic-Con Cape Town for the first time, for someone who is so highly acclaimed to say that your work is good, or find things that they like about your work, that can mean the world, and it really will knock you by surprise. It'll probably be the first time that you realize that you might actually be really good at this and have potential. These are some nice surprises that you might find. Okay, so this is a very me-orientated question. Do you have any advice for someone that has chronic conditions? Like, the organizers have to be informed, and what would happen if your medical condition flares up overseas? That is a wonderful question. To give some context behind it, I do suffer with a chronic condition myself. I have Crohn's disease. It's in a severe enough state now where I have to go for injections and infusions, which sucks. Flare-ups are horrible, and I appreciate that they are very, very horrible. I tend to let organizers know ahead of time, and they'll usually ask as well, what can they do to accommodate you in case you need any assistance? Communicate as much as you can. That is the best advice I can give for it. If you can make sure that they're aware, they know the signs to see if you are struggling, they can make sure that someone looks after you. And it doesn't hurt either that if you are worried that something is going to start going wrong, or your condition flares up, or anything could happen, it doesn't hurt to let other competitors know too. And you'll be surprised that even though you're competing against each other, they're going to become your closest friends and allies. A great example was me and Kelsey back when we both got to Crown finals last year. It wasn't really about us winning or losing at that point. We were just trying to survive. We're two of the 4 people to have ever returned back to Crown. The anxiety that gets associated with that is fucking horrible, I can tell you. But she was doing her best to do some final things to her costume. I ran out and got her glue sticks or tried to find a thread if she needed it, and I was out about in Chicago. On the day itself, I helped her mount her wings onto her costume. I thought I stood my jeans at one point. You'd be surprised how far people will go and relate to what you're going through just because they want to help, just because they care. Let people know if you might be struggling, and they will look after you as well. Communicate as much as you can, okay? With skits, what are big bad stage habits? Things that people can focus on to improve on or keep in mind to stand out. That is wonderful. That is a great question. With performances, go back and watch all of ECG seasons if you can. Something common you'll see with a lot of things is you need to know the source material to understand the skit. That is a big red flag. A lot of people tend to get too involved and assume that people are going to know what they're talking about, and it makes no sense out of context. You could do a performance on a deep emotional traveling circus troupe, but all the audience are going to see are phenomenal acrobatics or whatever, and they don't really understand what's happening here, and it's confusing. That happens a lot. Another one is people overcorrect, and they think, okay, I need people to understand this, I'm going to exposition dump. And you see people exposition dump painfully, where so much of this is wasted time just trying to give context. If you can do it in a more interesting way that explains the world and the narrative, you should do that. Another good example of bad habits is bad stage presence. A lot of people don't embody the character enough when they're on stage. They seem like they're a little bit nervous, a little bit shy, and they're waiting for their next cue to do the next motion. Live, breathe the character when you're on stage. Move as the character. Think, what would the character be doing in this moment? You don't want to be constantly moving like, you're hyped up on sugar and you've got ADHD. You just want to make sure that your movement and your actions are purposeful, but not stilted to the point that you're walking like a robot. Be the character. It sounds wishy-washy, but be the character as well. Other bad habits to give. Well, to be honest, there's quite a few, and you see a few trends. Making a serious skit boring is unfortunately another bad habit you can fall into. You're trying to do something serious, and maybe it's beautiful and romantic from your perspective, but watching it from the audience, it can be very dry and dialogue heavy. Focus on what your performance is doing. What elements can you add into it? Different levels help a lot to make something more interesting. So your levels in the stage, you could put a step ladder with a prop in front of it to mask a certain sense of level, and that gives you height. Moving height as well. So you moving around a character, going high and low in your body action, it makes it more visually interesting to watch because it has levels to it. Thinking about how things rise and fall, there's a lot to it. And ways to stand out. So I always say the level above master rank is innovation. If you can do something that has never been seen before, you'll be walking a tightrope between success and failure. And either it is the most incredible thing that has never been seen before, or it's kind of just, that was weird, what happened there? So for me, the way that I try to show innovation with my costume stuff was I did electroplating on a surface that had never been electroplated before. It's something unique, interesting, with a great finish that helped me stand out from my fellows. When it comes to stage stuff, this is tricky because we have a lot of rules that we have to work towards. So generally we're not allowed to do things like pyrotechnics or things that will leave a mess on the stage. Really, it's going to be dependent on how you can do it. It depends from person to person. You can often find good ideas looking at other hobbies. Miniature painting was a good one for me when it came to painting techniques. You may be able to find interesting ways through kabuki theatre, for example. I know the Mononoke skit at WCS last year, it was phenomenal because of its kabuki elements. It made the whole thing fascinating to watch and more dynamic. A great example too was the GCOF qualifier for Florida back at the end of last year at Holman. They did, it's arguably probably the best performance I've ever seen. It's between hers and Casey Molly's ECG one. They did a serious skit, and serious, like I've said before, it's hard to get it right. They did Little Goody Two Shoes. Now, does help to a certain degree that I know the game of Little Goody Two Shoes. And I knew that what they were doing is nothing from Little Goody Two Shoes. They did the story of Orpheus and Eurydice, but with two other characters, and they addressed the scene and the stage up with elements from the art style of the game. And they even put a phenomenal twist in at the very end to spoil their performance to you. The idea that they turn around to see if the person they care about is still there, and when they turn around, that damns them and sends them back to the underworld or whatever. They turn around, and she quickly managed to attach a giant butterfly to her face. And you couldn't see her do it. It was done with magnets and wig glue or something to that extent. And she turned around, and the narrator says, and a butterfly had fallen on her face at just the right time. And it saved her. It put a twist on the story that most of us know, to be honest, and we know where it's going. And it actually brought up emotions. Like, I rarely ever watch a skit and feel anything, but I am amazed at how invested that performance got me into. It was really well executed, and the fact that they did something that I have not seen someone do before to make the twist at the very end of the performance punch even harder, that is incredible. That is a good way to stand out. It's something so simple. It's magnets and wig glue, but it's timed so perfectly that it adds dramatic tension, expectation through people mostly knowing where the story is probably going to go. Because the tale of Orpheus and Eurydice is embedded into most people's cultures at this point. But even then, if you take that out of it, it's still interesting and fascinating to watch because you don't know where it's going to go. So that's an example. Sometimes simple can give you more options. It makes you feel a lot better. Wonderful, that's good. Having good friends around you are probably the most important thing you can have with any contest. A sad bit that I found when it came to qualifying the first time for Crown is everybody wanted to be my best friend as soon as I qualified, and a huge number of them didn't give a shit about me anymore the moment I didn't win. But it meant that going back into it, I know who was always going to have my back, from the friends I had before, the friends who stuck with me, who supported me and helped me get to the point where I could return. Having good friends is so important, so I'm glad to hear that. There is so much media that it is impossible for everyone to know what you're cosplaying. Listen, and I'll always look like I have ADHD. Yeah. Does anybody have any final questions? Does anybody have pets that want to tell me about? Any fellow cat lovers here? Yeah, I can see a few people. I love rats, to be honest. And you have 2 cats. That's great. Several people are typing. Yep. I bring up what pets do you have, and now everyone's talking. Here we go. A leopard gecko. That's really interesting. Like rats. I'm a huge animal lover, as you can tell. I see rats going through the city at night at the place where I work, and I feel bad for them being out in the cold. I'm weird like that. Cat lover, 3 cats, 2 dogs. Oh, 1 stray cat that adopted you, and a rabbit. You have emus? What menagerie of a farm do you live on? Here you go. If nothing else, you're gonna make a pets channel for the Discord. Share photos of your pets. Honestly, that's good advice. If you watch my build book panel, you may remember this. Oh, that is a beautiful kitty. Always put a picture of your pet at the very end of your build book if you can sneak it in without detracting from anything else. The positive impressions that you leave on people, they count for everything in this world. Okay, this is fully devolving into pet posting now. This is what I get for opening my mouth. Okay, we'll end it there then. If any of you do get any questions after the fact, you're always welcome to reach out to me. If we have recorded this and people are watching the VOD later on, first of all, hello, thank you for watching. You look great today, by the way. Please feel free to reach out to me if you have questions at this point. My social media is on the screen, along with my cat. Please just let me know if I can help with anything at all, okay? Yeah. You're very, very welcome. Thank you, everybody, for coming. It's been lovely to talk to you all, okay?
Thank you for joining us again.
There we go. Another voice that isn't my own, so thank you.
Thank you for joining us, and I hope that we can get you for another one, because I'm especially interested in the leatherworking, so...
I'm always happy to talk about leatherworking.
Awesome.
Leatherworking is something that comes very naturally to me, so I'm always happy to talk about that if people want to know. All right, you guys have a great day now, and thank you again for coming.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Oh god, I am an old man. How do I hang up? I don't like this. No, I can't stop getting the chat up.
I'll disconnect you.